morning everyone. My name is Khatri and I am from BCom 5th semester from Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay Government Girls PG College. Today I am here for my presentation and the topic of my presentation is various documents prescribed under the GST. So there are various documents prescribed under the GST such as tax invoice, bill of supply, debit note, credit note, e-way bill, HSN code and SAC code. Starting off with the first document, which is the tax invoice. Tax invoice is a document which gives an instrumental breakdown of a transaction, including the amount of tax charged. It helps in claiming the ITC, which is the input tax credit, and without the invoice, input tax credit cannot be availed. The invoice can be issued when the goods can, when the registered supplier pays tax under the registered scheme. In that case, invoice can be issued. In case of the supply of goods, the invoice can be issued before or at the time of the removal of goods for delivery. And in case of services, the invoice can be issued before or within 30 days or 45 days in case of banking or insurance services of the provision for service. Then the bill of supply. Bill of supply is a document which is issued when the registered supplier pays tax under the composition scheme or makes exempted supplies. There are various cases like when there is a B2C transaction or the value of supply is less than 200 rupees or the recipient is not willing to receive an invoice. Then in that case, the supplier is not mandatorily needing to issue an invoice or a bill of supply. Further, the other document is the debit note. Debit note is also known as a supplementary invoice. The supplementary invoice, when the tax invoice is issued and the taxable value charged is found less under the supply, then in that case the supplier issues the debit note and declares the details of the debit note in the upcoming return, and the tax liability shall be adjusted accordingly. Meanwhile, in the credit note, when the tax invoice is issued and the taxable value is found more under the supply, then in that case the supplier issues the credit note and declares the details of the credit note in the upcoming return by maximum 30th November of the next financial year or the actual date of filing the annual return, whichever is earlier, and the tax liability shall be adjusted. Furthermore, the e-way bill. E-way bill is the electronic way bill. According to the CGST rules 2017, whenever there is the transportation of goods exceeding the consignment value of 50,000, e-way bill needs to be generated before the transportation of the goods starts. However, there are certain cases where the consignment value does not exceed 50,000 rupees, but still the e-way bill needs to be issued. The several cases are when the goods are transported from one state or UT to any other state or UT by a principal or a job worker to any other job worker, then in that case e-way bill needs to be issued irrespective of what the consignment value is. The other case
is for job work, right?
Whenever a specified handicraft goods are transported from one place to another, that is one state or UT to any other state or UT, by a person who has been exempted from the requirement of obtaining the GST registration, the e-way bill needs to be generated. Now let's talk about the validity of the e-way bill. The validity of the e-way bill starts when the details of the e-way bill in the Part B are updated by the transporter for the very first time. However, the details in the conveyance of the Part B in the e-way bill need not to be furnished in a case where the goods are being transported for a distance of up to 50 kilometers within the state or UT from the place of the business of the consignor to the place of business of the transporter to the place of business of the consignor. Now, the HSN code, which is the harmonized system of nomenclature, it is an 8-digit code used to classify goods under the GST. It is controlled under the Central Board of Excise and Custom. It is a systematic way to identify and group goods. And base them into the category of their nature or origin, etc. It is mandatory for the business with a turnover exceeding 1.5 crores to have an HSN code. Like, if the business has a turnover exceeding 1.5 crores and less than 5 crores, a 2-digit HSN code is required. And if the business has a turnover exceeding 5 crores, a 4-digit or a 6-digit HSN code is required. In case of the exporters or importers, an 8-digit HSN code is required. At last, the SAC code, which is the service accounting code, it is a 6-digit code used to classify services under GST, and it is a systematic way to classify services on the basis of their nature. It is mandatory for all the service providers to mention their SAC code in their invoice or the GSTRs. It helps in reducing the penalties or the errors. For example, in the accounting or auditing services, the SAC code is 998211, and in legal services, the SAC code is 998212. So these are the various documents prescribed under the GST. And at last, I would like to thank Vishal sir for their exceptional guidance and support.